we've got your first semifinal here. It is going to be an amazing one. I hope you're just excuse me, I'm so excited I can't even talk anymore. It's going to be amazing. The first team we're going to have on stage, D-Man dubbed them the Russian Overlords. They're dominating both in the LCS and right here in their group. Give it up for Gambit! All right, guys, you can take your seats and prepare for the game. Next up is a team that are the winners of OGN Summer 2012, and they came in second in Riot Worlds Finals of Season 2. Give it up for CJ Entus Frost! All right, you guys, you can take your seats. As you can see, the teams are going to set up here and prepare for what is going to be an epic battle. Gambit versus CJ Entus Frost. Now, give it up for those two teams once more. All right, let's go over to our analyst desk to find out what they have to say about this matchup.
And this is it, our first semi-final of the Intel Extreme Masters World Championships. As CJ, I almost zoomed in.
It's almost.
CJ Entus Frost versus Gambit Gaming. This is going to be crazy.
This is going to be quite possibly the best games of the tournament so far.
The ingredients are there. All right, these two teams, they met at the IEM Intel Extreme Masters Katowice qualifiers. It was a semi-final as well. Gambit Gaming only made it to the playoffs on a timing rule. All right, they were lucky to get through.
Yes.
Once they got there, though, they absolutely tore Frost apart at the time. They ran their Kha'Zix, they ran Renekton, and Renekton was the story of those games. Darien on the Giant Crocodile was an immovable object. And I definitely think that they're going to be having memories of that.
Yeah, and it's going to be in their mind. Frost, as we mentioned, time and time again throughout the group stages, that revenge factor in there. Everyone's going to want to get that one up. And of course, Gambit are the defending titles, the defending champions. They hold the title. That's what the defending champions holding the title here. The IEM World Champs, they are yet to lose an event that they've entered. Every single IEM this season they have been at, they have won it. They are team talking, smiles and grins on their faces. Probably a pot of Pringles in there somewhere.
I'm sure there would be. And you know what? This is a team that they know what they're doing. They've been around the world competing at every single tournament known to competitive League of Legends. They've won so many of them. Never dropped an Intel Extreme Masters event that they've attended. They're going to plan to continue that success. And we know how competitive Frost are. And after the losses that Frost and Blaze suffered, 2 months ago, they're going to be out for revenge.
Yeah, revenge is a great motivator. And Gambit, I was just with them during the break in the Twitch lounge, and they're smiling on stage now, but they were stone cold killers in there. Almost unapproachable. They were so serious. They are ready for blood, and the confidence was oozing from them. They have no doubt in their mind they are winning this series.
That's Gambit all around. Doesn't matter who they're playing against, they will always go into it with, yes, we're going to win this. Now, we've got the Korean teams, we've mentioned time and time again how strong their research is, how strong their training is, strategies and the likes. We mentioned before as well how the LCS teams that we've seen coming into this and the non-LCS teams have had time to, or the LCS teams have not had the time to specifically train for matchups, specifically train for teams, look at new strategies and the likes. Some of the other teams that hadn't been playing in the LCS in the last few weeks have done. They did very well. They got out of the groups. They took a lot of people by surprise. Frost and Blaze haven't had quite as much spare time, but they are still a Korean squad. They have still had that kind of research, that kind of training. And if they've formed any kind of special strategies for any of the games in this tournament so far, this has got to be the one. Frost Frost and Gambit have met time and time again. Everyone knows how strong they are. They know how strong each other are. And I'm kind of hoping for something new and crazy from one side or the other. But Gambit at the moment, they've just got this little niche where they've got the picks and the strategies that no one else can really pull off. Everyone knows them. Everyone's seen them time and time again. But they can't seem to figure out how to stop it or how to work against it or even how to steal it.
The thing that's difficult for the setup at the moment, especially when coming up against Gambit, is you can ban out X number of champions, but they have possibly the most diverse champion pool out of any team from Europe at the moment, because they can pick off wins with absolutely anybody. We've got the picks and bans up for the matches that Gambit Gaming have played up until this point, just here at the Intellectual Masters World Championships. And they have played Shen, Kha'Zix, Volibear, Nasus, Kog'Maw, Zed, Thresh. You know, absolutely everything is in there. You know, there's a couple of mainstays that they like to revert to, that they like to continue playing. Kha'Zix and Zed being sort of Alexich's most prominent champions thus far that have stood out. Shen for Darien being just insanely strong. I mean, possibly the strongest Shen performances we've seen out of anybody in Europe. And I mean, Darien is known for his Shen. He's really, really strong on that champion, has been for such a long time, and continue to demonstrate it the whole way up this tournament. So what does Frost actually do coming into this? Do they try pull off a strat that we haven't seen? Do they try something brand new? Or do they just go, well, ban Kha'Zix and Zed and Renekton and we should be okay?
I mean, we've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Right now, against Gambit and against a lot of the top teams, you can't ban out specific champions just for the sake of, oh, we don't want this guy to play this one, we don't want this guy to play this one, because they're just switching to something else that does a similar job and play that equally well. Their bans here have got to go towards either champions they consider particularly strong, particularly overpowered, or more specifically and more likely, champions that specifically counter the strategy they want to run.
Well, the game has begun. We're at Champion Select. 3 bans out already: Elise and Renekton and Caitlyn. Taking that away from
quite a common ban throughout the course of the tournament in comparison to a lot of the previous things, previous events we've seen. So not particularly surprising there. Kayle, of course, has been banned a lot through the group stages, a little bit less in the playoffs, but a lot early on. We did see Snoopy try and jungle it. That's the only time we saw her in that part of the map, but not really too effective. Shen there and Urgot are our last 2 bans, and as we said before, Shen up until the quarterfinals was 100% pick ban rate. But in doing that, they've left open Thresh. They've left it to Edward. They've given him that Thresh Prince.
I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this plays, because he's one of the highlighted Thresh players of the moment. Only really Mad Life and Lust Boy to an extent have been playing quite as effectively with that Thresh. So we'll see how it gets locked in and how it continues to play out. The Urgot ban, making sure they don't come up against that combination. They don't want to face Urgot in lane. They don't want to have to deal with that giant crab monster.
Mad Life and Woong.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, Mad Life and Woong have been playing a number of different carry options throughout the tournament so far. We've seen Ezreal, we've seen Caitlyn, we've seen Urgot, etc. So we'll see what does get locked in. At the moment, they're hovering over Xin Zhao and Ezreal. I'm just trying to take note of what is missing. Kayle has been banned out. So what kind of OPU, what kind of champions are we seeing that is available that maybe might be considered? Zed, Kha'Zix for Gambit, maybe?
Zed and Kha'Zix are possibilities in there. We've got that Xin that's been picked. It's had a bit of a mixture in success rate so far throughout the tournament. I mean, there was a lot of bans on it early on. A lot of people were like, well, we need it instantly. But they didn't really manage to pull it off. Some perhaps weaker teams, the guys that didn't get out of the groups, but ultimately a team like Frost are going to use it, they're going to use it well. It's been used a lot in the whole re-engage kind of strategies at the moment, letting teams start a fight, pulling away, letting their cooldowns come back up, going straight back into them, using it alongside a Lulu or something similar. But the immediate answers from Gambit is Alex Ich on his Kha'Zix. That
I'm
guy
excited for this.
Can single-handedly turn the tide of fights, the way he controls those resets, the way he gets those assassinations on the low health targets. It's going to be very interesting to see exactly what Frost can do to stop it. I do like that Gragas pick, the possibility of, he's coming in to assassinate with a squishy target,
knock him
push him straight back away again, and now he's got no leave to come in and do it again. It's an option. But Ken just grabbed himself his misfortune, and there is that.
I wonder if it's going to be Nasus or Volibear. This is what I'm thinking to myself now. Which jungler is Diamond Prox going to run? You know, we've seen both. He has used both this tournament. He's been using. Those have sort of been his go-to junglers over the past couple of weeks. We'll see what does decide to get locked in. Jax is currently being hovered over. And, you know, the Gragas pick, it's great. It's going to help out in lane. He's got the presence, especially once he starts, you know, chugging down from his double. You get that auto attack damage up. If they get into a boxing match at very low levels, he's going to be able to trade relatively evenly. And, of course, the range that those barrels offer him is great.
We've also got the sense that the way the game likes to go at the moment, especially the tournament plays, switching lanes around. on that red side in which Frost are at the moment, Rapid Star is going to be down, or could be down in that bottom lane, grabbing that early blue buff and switching out from that position and just 2v1ing down there with Gragas. That's something we saw.
How could we forget Singed?
And yes, Shy has Singed. It was banned in the other semi-final. He wasn't even there. Sorry, the other quarterfinal, and he wasn't even there. This time, Gambit have left it open, but they must have seen it coming. They must know we didn't ban it. It's Shy. They haven't picked it yet. They're probably toying with it. It's an option. It's a possibility. And this is the first time we've seen Darian play Jax all tournament.
And Singed should do pretty well against Jax, an auto attack champion. He's going to be able to literally run, rings around him. Yeah, he will get stunned up once, he will get leaped onto once, but as long as he's got that insanity potion up and available, Jax is not really going to be able to stick to him to continue landing those auto attacks. So it may end up being a bit of a farm-faced lane.
And if he's against Jax, they might switch it around and be against the Thresh Prince and Misfortune.
Also true, yeah, the 2v1 lanes in that regard. So it does get locked in. Shy is going to be on Singed, and this game just has all the makings of awesome.
In any other team, I'd be so terrified that they gave Shy Singed, but there's something, maybe it's fanboy, maybe it's rational, but I still have confidence in Gambit. I think they're going to show us how to deal with Singed.
I was going to say, we've seen Shy play it time and time again, we've seen him dominate teams with it time and time again, but if there's anyone I would dub to shut that champion down and give us a masterclass in how to stop the unstoppable force that is Shy's Singed, it's going to be Gambit Gaming. They do seem to have settled on their final roster there, and Genji is running that Ghost Cleanse again, something that he started to engineer, bring back in. It's very, very useful. I mean, it makes a lot of sense if you think in the long run. Nowadays, with the game set up, so many people have dash abilities, gap closure abilities, but one flash will not get you away from it for good. Ghost lasts longer. Cleanse gets you out that early CC and reduces the following CC on you, and then that Ghost will take you further and you can kite for longer. And with Misfortune already being a pretty speedy champion, that can be very, very useful.
All right, well, the game is loading. The casters are ready. I know everybody at home is ready. Casting this match is Lee Demon Smith, and joining him is Jason Kaplan. This is going to be great. Enjoy.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are ready and waiting. It's Gambit Gaming versus CJ Entus Frost, the repeat of the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice semi-final. In that game, Gambit did go 2-0. In that game, the very first game, Shy did run Singed, and they beat it with a Renekton, which is probably why the first ban we saw was Renekton.
Yeah, very good point. And the analysis desk talking about, Singed got through, and I really think that Gambit actually was baiting that pick out. And
they
we're going to see
it was coming.
Yeah, they had to.
Absolutely knew it was coming. There's on your screen Gambit Gaming on the left-hand side. They are going to be playing as the blue team from bottom to top, and the red team, CJ Entus Frost, from top to bottom. Gambit Gaming finished third in the Season 2 World Finals. CJ Entus Frost finished second. They didn't meet each other, as it were, and well, we've already seen the one time they did meet, it was 2-0 to Gambit. The question is, can they do it again, or will the Korean champions be able to get in there? I say champions, I guess technically Najin's sort of taken that from them, because they just won the latest OGN tournament. As it is, though, the Thresh Prince is in there. We got the two, probably, is it safe to say, best supports in the world? We've got Madlife, who we saw go 5-0-15 earlier on in this tournament. We've got Edward on Thresh, who we've seen go 4-0-19 before. He went 8-1-11 in the ESL Major Series just the other week. He has had outstanding performances, and the fact that Gambit used that as their first pick must mean they are really happy with the way he's going to play that.
Yeah, I have to completely agree. And Demon, I'm looking at this, and there's just so many epic lanes going to happen. I mean, you finally have Madlife, Edward facing off, you have Genja, Woong, you have Alex, Rapistar, even, Darian, Shy. Obviously, Diamond Prox and Cloud Templar. There's just going to be so much clashing going on. It's going to be insane. And we are seeing what looks like Gragas, Rapistar going to be starting in the bottom lane, 1v2. We saw that happen against EG yesterday, and he's running that same 5 flat armor pen. And looking over at Genja's side, running that 6% lifesteal and that 17 flat armor pen, which we've seen him do. Same thing with Woong. He's not running the 6%, but he does it as well. And we are going to see, it looks like, that support AD carry in the mid lane versus Alex Each.
So it looks like Alex Each has helped out Diamond on the Wolves. He's going to back off. It is going to be him in the middle, like you mentioned. It is going to be straight up 1v1 top lane, Darian versus Shy. Time for Darian to prove himself. He's never really brought the plaudits towards him, whereas Shy obviously has. Darian, we saw him in the interview in the League of Legends Championship Series just the other day when asked about Wicked and the likes and the top lane with Kevin, etc. and Soaz, and he was just like, well, have you seen our league position? It's like results speak for themselves, honestly, and it's interesting that he does say that. So we'll have to keep a close eye on that one. We do see Lulu heading up towards the blue buff at the moment. He's just going to play some wards out around there, so maybe getting some early aggression. Let's see where they trace through. He's actually getting right round towards the blue. Put a pink ward down on that blue buff as well.
This is exactly what we saw them do against EG, where they had Lulu roam around, put a couple of wards down in the blue buff, and they drew Snoopy into the mid lane by having the jungler come in and put pressure on that mid turret. As you see, wow, Alex getting very low off the bat. He is running that 17 flat armor pen, so if he does jump in, he's going to be doing quite a bit of damage, but being 1v2, being this low already, and Frost knocking at the door of that turret, it's going to have quite a bit of troubles here.
I'm pretty sure they exactly expected this, so Alex is going to be well prepared with the fact that he's going to be 2v1. Obviously, we would have seen Edward and Genja moving up there as well, and so Edward and Genja down that bottom lane. Rapid Star actually held out pretty well. Alex, it seems to be chugging away on those health pots. Genja, of course, going to be pressuring the farm. Let's see how the farm does lay out between them as well, because last time Woong did this, he had a huge farm advantage. As it is, Genja's keeping pretty good advantage here, and of course, Edward on Thresh is a great zoning champion. Meanwhile, they do come in, the pressure on towards Alex again. We see Templar coming around. This is exactly what they did against Evil Geniuses. They had that 3-man stack in the mid and absolutely destroyed Froggen.
Yeah, and it worked out so well for them. And we actually had Diamond Proc sitting around the side in that bush in mid lane, was spotted by a ward, so Frost knew that, and great reaction out of Gambit to recognize this and react to it appropriately.
Oh, look at that. Edward, he knows he's going to throw that lamp out and make sure he's safe, simply warding out the dragon. He does come up, just keeps the pressure effectively on Frost there, making sure that Alex's tower is safe. Also saw Diamond Procs come in to help him out. They were all backing off now, so Alex is going to go back and buy. Did start off with that Fortitude potion, so he only had 2 health pots, goes back and gets that Crystalline Flask. Meanwhile, Darian at the top there, taking a fair bit of damage from Shy.
Yeah, I really think he's going to have a tough time up here against that Singe. That fling is just so devastating, though he does have that leap to get back in, and not to mention the slow end. That fling from Diamond Procs can be very deadly. We do have both junglers head up towards his top side, and there's going to be action.
There's going to be action. You see Darian goes in, he gets the counter strike down. They're going to chase on towards Shy. The flip will come through from Diamond. Gets it back in there. Will they lay down enough damage before Cloud Templar comes on? Shy is going to go down. He's first blood, but Diamond Procs is in trouble. That's a double buff gone, and now Cloud Templar might be get that 3-talent strike on towards Darian. One more hot shot will do it. You can see he has to force the flash. He gets it in there. It's a double kill for Cloud Templar.
And him reading Diamond Procs perfectly right there, coming up towards that top side just to kind of counter gank that. Great job by them. Shy did go down, but a double kill for Cloud Templar. I think they're going to take that any day of the week.
While this is all happening, Edward's making his way up there, and Alex Hitch, you can see, trying to ward out there. Edward maybe going to see if he can get any locks down, puts the shield down. Can he get any hooks on towards Mad Life or Woong? Try and force the potential gank from Alex Hitch. He hasn't obviously evolved yet, hasn't hit level 6 as it was. He's quite happy. Genja obviously is doing a perfectly fine job against Rapid Star. Felt like he'd had the lane pushed enough. Both keeping up the farming advantage as well. 30 CS between both AD carries.
Yeah, I really like what Edward is doing right now. I mean, he knew that Genja would be fine at the bot lane. He's fast enough to dodge the barrels. He has enough damage to go head-to-head against Rapid Star, so he's just supporting Alex in the mid lane, where the turret already took a lot of damage at this point, and he has to make sure Alex has a strong mid game right now, because he's the one that's always been on Kha'Zix to really get the ball rolling for their team with the leaping in, the damage. Oh, we just see the top lane. Oh, Cloud Templar waiting in those bushes to go for Darian yet again.
Well, Darian's already been caught once. Oh, and he flips him straight into Cloud Templar. Audacious Strike does manage to get the counter strike on both of them, though. Has got Leap Strike available if he requires it, and actually a very good escape from Darian there. Simple counter strike did enough.
Yeah, that was so close. I bet he's so happy he didn't actually Leap Strike anywhere. But we also see Cloud Templar really camping this top lane so far. He's been in the middle, been at top, hasn't really made any presence.
Diamond Procs going in towards Shy, and actually he just backed away. He flips him in towards the turret. Counter strike's going to go down. He will keep Shy stunned. He's going to be enough to damage him down, though. Flip's already been used. They can't chase through the poison, and Darian has to just hold off for a little bit longer. Diamond Procs being forced to help out this top lane. Is it going to be enough, though? Are they going to be giving Rapid Star just too much time in that bottom lane?
Yeah, this is going to be a really scary point right now for this entire game. If Shy can keep up this advantage he has and keep snowballing it, he's going to be so deadly. Like yesterday, we saw him just was immovable in lane, was immovable in team fights, and the team could not react to him. We do see the mid lane, Cloud Templar coming in for a gank.
Well, Alex is forced to flash away, but he's going to get caught out. Woong puts the damage down. He manages to get the slow. The Ignite's going to run, and Alex Hitch goes down. It's Mad Life that picks up the kill.
And Cloud Templar has been setting up kills across this entire map. He went for those early boots him ability just so he can kind of make these things happen. And right now, Frost looking completely different from what we saw at Katowice, where they got 2-0'd by this team.
Well, the one way to keep and beat Gambit Gaming is to out-aggress them, and CJ Entus Frost are trying to do just that. Darian again gets flinged out there, does manage to stun him, misses the stun on Shy, because Shy popped his ultimate there, runs in towards the turret, but there's going to be the hook on towards Madlife. They're going to try and lay the damage down. Hasn't got any turret damage coming from him, though. Cloud Templar now taking the damage, and you can see just walk away from that one. They're going to try and push this turret down. Can they hang around the flip now? Cloud Templar's in trouble. He goes down. The turret finally drops, but Edward goes down as well. Woong pushing the pressure on. It's Madlife that picks up another. He's 2 for 0.
He's getting close to that 5-0-15 score we saw yesterday versus EG, but look at Shy in that top lane, farming past that first turret, and with just that tier and cloth armor, and he has 1,000 gold on top of that to go back with, he's really controlling and shutting down Darian. And look at the CS difference at this point. I mean, it's 30-49. That's a huge lead for Singe so far. We even have a lead coming in for Genja over Rapidstar in that bottom lane, but you really should expect that with an AD carry versus an AAP carry.
And Jason, how's this going to work out? Because obviously we've seen this a lot with Genja. He's gone for that average play to start with, and I think Woong is going to be building straight towards some sort of BF item, maybe straight jumping for a Bloodthirster as quick as possible. He hasn't been back to buy yet, stayed in that lane for a very long time. He's 0-0-2 with 51 farm.
I think it's really going to come down to how Gambit really controls Frost in these fights. The one big X factor that Frost has against him is that barrel out of Gragas. It can really set you really in a bad position during a fight, but if you get Edward with that nice hook, you get the entire team following up on top of that, you're going to get the resets on Kha'Zix, you're going to get Darren with the CC, not to mention the Nom out of Diamond Procs, not to mention the flip, the slow. They have a lot of control in these fights, but it's all up to Rapidstar, it's all up to Templar, who both have that double knock away for the team.
Well, they have a 1,000 gold difference currently. You can see Frost, Misfortune using the bullet time in the bottom lane just to clear out, looking like they're going to try and move the dragon. They realize the top lane is going to be gone, so they're going to try and trade this one straight out. Can Woong do anything about it? Hasn't got True Shot Barrage there. We could see Rapidstar maybe come and try and steal with the barrel, but it doesn't look like it. They're quite happy to trade it. It's going to be a dragon for top turret.
And this is kind of an interesting point where Gambit, they lost their mid turret, lost the top. Now Shy is free to just farm that top lane as much as possible. And the blue buff for Gambit, that's what I was strictly looking at, is that Alex is going to need that for quite a bit to get that tier stacked, to get that cooldown reduction, not to mention just to really harass and get in there in these fights. And if Frost can control that, they're pretty much going to shut Alex down, because they've been doing a great job of that so far.
They're running around, stealing away the walls. Alex is well aware of this one. And are they going to turn and try and pressure this inner turret? They do ping it, so they may well go for this one. They have 4 members in that mid lane. There's only Alex is really nearby. You see already that Edward's backing off there. He's going to try and come and support this one. Diamond Prox is on the red buff. They're going to try and take that away as quick as possible so they don't lose that out in the jungle. And now they're going to come around. There's the Void Spikes coming out. Diamond Prox trotting around the side, but that turret already down to half health, and they're continuing the pressure. Here comes Diamond Prox around the side. Audacious Charge comes out from Templar. He manages to flip him straight around. Woo! Gets the kill there. Now they're turning on towards Darren Genja. Genja in trouble. If the lamp goes down, he's going to be placed safe, but the lantern flick's not going to come through from Shy, and they just back away. And the Voice Box actually taking Woong down, but now they're just going to rotate down and pressure on towards that bottom turret with Rapidstar.
This snowball and transition and the flow that they're using right now is so perfect. I mean, they pushed that mid lane, forced everyone back from Gambit to really deal with that. They get a kill, they come down into the spot lane, like you're just saying, getting this turret. Darren's on the top lane pushing that turret down, yeah, but it doesn't matter. Frost is taking advantage at this point.
Top lane wave just gets a True Shot Barrage across it. You can see it's Darien that's trying to pressure on towards that one. Meanwhile, down the bottom here, it is Cloud Templar and co taking down another turret. 3-0 in turrets now. I don't think Darian's going to get that top one either before Shy returns, so it does mean that the advantage is going to keep with Frost. It is only 2,000 gold difference though, remember, because they picked up that dragon, so just those 2 turrets are the big difference at the moment. The 3, sorry.
And one thing we do have to point out is that yesterday Shy was running Ghost Teleport. He's not doing it this time, so the threat of him really split pushing hard against you isn't so deadly this time. The question is, if Shy comes in for these team fights and flips a member of Gambit Gaming out at this point, they can kill him instantly. Not to mention you have the Gragas barrel to knock him even further back, and Gambit has to be very, very careful about the positioning throughout the rest of this game.
And correct me if I'm wrong here, Jason, but doesn't Darien need to get a lot of farm in this lane as Jax? He needs to get those damage items out there, maybe a tanky items as well, before he can be useful, whereas Shy is technically useful already.
Yeah, I mean, that flip is deadly, but it all comes down to if Darren can get a nice counter-strike onto members of Frost. Jax needs a lot of farm. We haven't seen too much of them in the Season 3 patch.
11-minute Oracle here, coming out from Madlife. What do we think of that?
I mean, he has the money for it. He's 2-0-1 at this point. They're being very aggressive. They're invading. Look at the wards
the
they
counters
have.
on here. Shy realizes it. He's already pinged it. And here comes Cloud Templar. He goes in towards Darian, baits him towards it. And here comes Cloud Templar. Do they realize that Diamond Prox is in there, though? Have they got enough? You can see the counter strike goes down. It's Cloud Templar that's the target. They're trying to get the finish off on him. They're going to jump across. One more shot. No! The health bot runs through. True Shot Barrage comes back across. That's going to rattle across, but it doesn't catch on towards Diamond Prox.
And yet again, Cloud Templar is in the right position at the right time, completely shutting down Diamond Prox. I didn't really expect him to pull off a move like that, but it's working out so well for them. Rapid Star has been 1v2 this entire game, has equal farm to Alex H in the mid lane, and pretty much equal farm to his opponent, Genja.
He's been having no problems in this bottom lane. Effectively, he's been 1v1 because it's just Genja that's been there. We have seen a lot of movement from Edward. How has that affected him? He's managed to keep the levels up on the looks of it, so he's still at level 6, the same as Mad Life. Alex H has evolved those wings, and you can see he just leaps away in the top there. We do see Mad Life coming up on towards Darian. Is Diamond going to cancel that teleport? No, he's still going to go back.
And you mentioned Edward, you know, how's this roaming affecting him? If he was able to get a couple of more kills for his team, I would have said it worked out perfectly, but at this point, they didn't really create any opportunities because this aggression that Frost is putting out to them. You're saying, you know, if you want to be Gambit, be more aggressive than they are, and sometimes the best defense is an offense.
Well, speaking of advantages, we do see that Philo Stone on Edward. He's been building up that gold. Mad Life, in other words, went for that Oracle. He's cleared a lot of wards out, but how many advantages have they taken from it? They may go on here because Darian is well out of position. He's going to jump away from this one. He may well just run south, run north, and try to go towards the turrets.
It looks like Cloud Templar is actually chasing down. He should be able to catch with an instant charge.
He's going to try and kite them down the river. Has he got time, though? Because the rest of his team are coming around. They're going to pick up the blue buff. No, he's just quite happily accepted. He knows he is dead.
Oh, Ezra almost stole away that blue buff right there. And Cloud Templar is still going after Darian as he finally does go down to that turret, but still the damage is done. And you were saying, you know, have they taken advantage from the Oracle, from the no GP10? And right there, they clearly did. They are now 6-2. The gold lead, not a lot, surprisingly, even with those 3 turrets under their bag. And, you know, we talked about Genja's Avarice Blade. So far, it's stacked up 200 gold. It should keep, well, it's keeping him in line with Woong, as you're seeing right there, as he's already down 1 kill and 2 assists. But they need a good fight. They need to get a couple of kills here just to start getting some sort of, you know, clawing back into the game.
Cloud Templar definitely been the difference so far. Diamond Prox catches a glimpse of Woong. Woong going to try and steal away that Wraith. Diamond Prox uses his body to block it. Alex H takes them away. Red buff is being warded out. Mad Life clearing out the jungle of Gambit Gaming currently with that Oracle. They have complete control, really, of Gambit's jungle. Complete seizure. Just look across the map. All those wards in Gambit's jungle, it's all from Mad Life. Just going around, completely covering everything there. Darian in the top. He's going to have Shy jumping on him in a moment.
And I don't think he can take him 1v1 right now, especially since he's level 9 to the level 10 of Shy, already having that catalyst, and they do start to engage. But I don't think Darian can take this.
Well, he jumps away, gets the counter strike down. The ultimate's been pushed by Shy there. I'm not sure if it was quite required. You see the glue goes down, and Darian doesn't care. He's just continuing to farm. Shy is actually losing quite a lot of damage there.
Oh, sorry, bot lane, they were actually looking to set up a potential gank right there as Gambit almost face-checked that. Red buff is up. CJ Frost, with those wards, they have the vision of it, and they can steal us away.
They may try and steal it, see if any barrels come through. Rapid Star's going to spot it out there. There comes the barrel on. They realized it. You see the hook come out. Oh, the Tree Shot Barrage, but it's not quite right in time. Alex H throws the rockets towards them, and they have to back away, and that was not me, ladies and gentlemen. That was Rapid Star on Gragas.
Yes, I mean, he's using the best skin in the game. When you do back, you can hear the music. With Frost, I mean, this is textbook play out of them. They're just starving Gambit of as much gold as possible. That's why you keep seeing Darian push out that top lane. He needs to get that farm, like you were mentioning. He needs to get some sort of items to get in this game and really be forced to reckon with, but Dragon is up. Gambit did take the last one, and Frost should be able to grab this one.
Edward looking to maybe throw a hook out, doesn't land on into anyone, and that Dragon surely will get taken down. It will be picked up by Frost, and I don't think Gambit won this one. The barrel's going to get thrown out. It's Edward that gets sorted out, puts the box down, and immediately gets ripped apart. You saw the Misfortune's ultimate coming out, but really didn't do a great deal, and Gambit should just back away from this one. You see Alex H just having to jump away, and now the middle turret's in trouble.
And that's what's so deadly about Frost's composition. If you do get that barrel, you get one person caught out, you fling them, and then you have the dispersion out of Xin Zhao's ultimate on top of that. One person can get thrown across pretty much half the map at that point, and he won't be able to survive against the damage that Woong has, the damage that Rapid Star has, and even Shy, who's just running around with that Rod of Ages, his tier almost fully stacked up at this point.
It's a real strong performance so far from Frost. They have a 4,000 gold advantage building up. The Wolves going to be targeted. Are they going to try and focus Shy? That would be a mistake, I feel. And immediately we see Frost going back to buy. What are they going to pick up? What are all those items they can go? Rod of Ages was completed for Shy. That's just going to make him that little bit stronger. We saw Cloud Templar. He built Arrow Locket of Solari. Ironically, that was the item that kind of undid them in Katowice. As it is, we also see the Morellan.
Nomicon.
If I could say that.
It's hard for me to say too. Like I can say the last half,
Damn you,
I can't say the
Morello,
first.
for putting that in the game.
But yeah, that's actually one of the most powerful AP items in the game at this point. It's the cooldown reduction, the healing reduction you get as well. It's just so perfect, especially, you know, Diamond Procs, that passive, it really heals so much. You really underestimate sometimes. You do see the top lane, Darren going in against Shy, but actually do see Alex coming up from the river, so they might be able to get this.
Well, they might try and hold it out there. We have Diamond there as well. Remember, he did just get the Rod of Ages. Counter-Strike's going to go down, leaps on towards him in the push. Here comes Alex Hitch. Does manage to get the slowdown. The Ignites there as well. The flip will be ready for Diamond Procs. They're going to put a lot into this one. They do finally get the kill, but it took a lot of work, and it does mean they're going to lose out on this middle turret because Woong is going to get in there with Mad Life, and that's a turret for a turret trade. And immediately you can see Gambit Gaming, they're backing off on this one.
And looking at that top lane, what just happened, I was kind of saying in my head, Diamond Procs probably said to him, your Kung Fu is not as strong as mine, as they both flipped each other in the end, but obviously Gambit taking that kill. But Frost coming out ahead, taking that turret down. Darren does, actually still is pushing that top lane, but look at the CS difference. He's about 40 CS behind at this point, and Gambit is pushed back to their inhibitor turrets already.
They're going to go down the bottom turret, and they may well get this one away. You can see they're collapsing on it. That was the first turret of the game for Gambit, but this is going to be the 5th of the game for Frost, and there's not a great deal that Gambit can do about it. They're going to try and come in and defend, but the turret goes down, and now Diamond Procs chases on towards Woong. Wild Growth gets used, doesn't, and avoids the explosive cast. Very nicely done there, but it doesn't bother chasing, and they're going to have to back off. The rest of the team weren't quite in position, and Shy on Singed, sure enough, is creating problems just from being singed.
Yeah, that's what he does best. I mean, Frost has such a good disengage if they really need it. That Gragas ultimate, Zin's ultimate, and then even Singed, if he builds a Rylai's Crystal Scepter eventually, like there's just no way for Gambit to chase them down unless you have Edward land a nice hook. But if they land that hook, they're going to kill that person. So it's all about which team can kind of hit that one skill shot they need to set up the entire fight. Gambit not really that far behind still. It's 18 minutes in. About 4,000 gold at this point. We've seen them, you know, easily, or we've had with a famous line of, if you give them a finger, they'll take your arm kind of thing. And if Frost has one slip up, Gambit will take that and use it to their advantage.
Absolutely. World True Shot Barrage goes across, not going to get the steal on the blue. They tried, he'd already taken it down. So Gambit's still just reclaiming that jungle. All those wards that were placed out from Frost have been cleared out now. You can see a massive amount of wards been bought by Frost. So surely going to clear out and try and position on the map. Darian getting the glue down, but just going to back away from that one, and again, Shy just flips him. Why not? Why not? Just keep him busy. Here comes Volibear, though, but you can see Cloud Templars just off the side there. He's going to come in. He's going to save that day. He's going to get the 3-ton strikes on towards Darian, but Alex is going to join the party. Darian's going to get taken very low. Shy's still very strong. It's Cloud Templar they're focused on. They should get a kill down here. Can they finish him off? The flash comes in, and here's Genja. He manages to put the full ultimate down, but Alex Hitch, he gets dropped by Woong, and now Genja turns on towards Woong, but Shy flips away Darian. The poison might be enough to tick him down. He gets the health down, and the lamp comes out from Edward to save him out. It's a 1-for-1 exchange. Alex Hitch for the jungler. The explosive cast not going to land from Rapid Star.
And Genja just showing the mastery of that misfortune right there. Completely zoned out Frost after they picked up that kill. A 1-for-1 trade in the end, but still, CJ Frost now pushing up to this turret. They have, well, the bot lane and mid lane, luckily for Gambit, is actually pushing against Frost.
The hook there nearly landed onto Woong. Woong was ready for it. Arcane shifted away from it, and Mad Life with that Oracle. Once again, his second Oracle of the game, actually. We have Edward also with the Oracle coming around and defending the turret. The gold, 4,000 between them. Dragon up in just 1.5 minutes, and the red buff is up. Genja is actually around there. Is Shy going to come and try and poke it?
Look how many wards are still down for Frost at this point. They finally got into the jungle, put down another 5, and even Woong picked up 2 pink wards himself. They put one down on Baron. It looks like they might even try to go for it eventually. And Woong, he's 3-0-2 at this point with that Bloodthirster, has 600 gold on him right now, so we're most likely going to see, I think, a Last Whisper as his next item. And they are just looking so strong. I mean, they could not deal with Shy. You just saw him. He was tanking Diamond Procs, he was tanking Darien, and they just could not drop him below half health.
And it's Cloud Templar they went for, who has obviously the Iron Locket, so just shielded himself up, and it took Alex and Darien quite a lot of time to kill him. And that's a problem. That is a serious problem for Gambit. Woong going up towards the top to prevent Darian's split push, and he's just going to stop him out, and we do see Mad Life once again venturing into that jungle.
Yeah, and speaking of Darren, he's been at this top lane this entire time, and yet he's still down 40 CS to Shy at this point. So he's trying to get in this game and get some farm, but he keeps being stopped every time. Frost is always sending someone up there to push him back, and they're doing a great job of controlling Jax, because once he starts to snowball a little bit, he can become very strong very quickly.
And we should point out that Alex Hitch actually hasn't yet completed a single item. He's very much splitting across multiple items, hasn't got the Bloodthirster out there, went for the Brutalizer early on with that Giant's Belt as well. Tear of the Goddess, that's building up, but hasn't actually completed an item other than the Mercury Treads. I guess you could count that as a full item.
Yeah, I mean, okay, according to CS, he hasn't been shut down, but compared to all of his other Kha'Zix games, he really has been. He usually picks up 3 or 4 kills at this point. We do have Frost poisoned for Dragon at this point with all 5 members there. Genja at the bot lane, and if Frost is going to engage,
he's going to go for it, and that's going to be the wild growth on Cloud Templar to launch them away. It's Alex Inch they focus on, and they dropped him so quickly. Diamond Prox in all sorts of trouble. He's going to get taken down, and now you can see Misfortune's ultimate bullet time not landing on anything. Darian is going to get taken down as well. He's trying to run away, but that's a 3-for-0 exchange, and Azubu Frost, CJ enters Frost, turn and go for Baron.
So well played by Frost, and that's what all the ward coverage really gives you. Mad Life, like you mentioned before, had those 2 oracles, really gave him a lot of control, and that Gragas barrel set up that entire fight with Zin's ultimate. Great job by Frost and Gambit. They have a long road ahead of them to get back in this game and to go for the win here. They do have some items finally developing. Jax hasn't finished his first major item, but you know, once he gets to that Triforce, he's just so strong at that point. He can pretty much build straight tank right after that. We do see Diamond going for that Aegis as his pickup just to get them a little bit tankier. And Rapid Star, he's starting to get very deadly as the Seraph Embrace is finished up on Shy. So if he wasn't trolly enough, he's going to have that on top of it.
He is going to be very strong. We do see Genja actually soloing out the Dragon, so they are going to try and keep that gold advantage at a minimum that CJ Entus Frost have built up. But as you mentioned, Shy is just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And this is something we've seen develop from his Singe. But I mean, he went for Rod of Ages next normally. He may well go again, or will he go a little bit tanky? Does he need any more tank with that Seraph's Embrace? I'm not too sure.
I think it depends. If Genja picks up a Blade of the Rune King, he might need some armor just to kind of counter that a little bit, because that can tear through him. I mean, we have a lot of health currently on Cloud Templar as well. Gragas just naturally gets pretty tanky with that health. That would be the perfect item for him to pick up. Does finish that last Whisper, and Frost has to be careful.
They've double pinged it. They said, well, you know what? We're going to go for bottom and mid lane, because that's how we can do it. Most people go for top and bottom. Darren is a long way away from the base right now. We're bearing him up. This is a Baron up. CJ enters Frost moving in towards this. Shy at the bottom. So Darren is not going to be able to deal with the bottom lane of Singed, and he's just running around the base, layering down the poison. The rest of the team going to come across. While this is all happening, the pressure has to come out from Frosty. They have to get this inhibitor turret down, because they're going to lose that top inner. Darian finally backing off there, and they do try and bully them out here, but they've lost a third of the hit points already off that turret.
Darren doesn't unfortunately have those home guarded boots. They could potentially engage if they want to, but you know, being a little bit behind at this point, as you see Cloud Templar just tanking that turret, they should be able to secure one inhibitor off this. We do get the nice Q on that Rapid Star.
The hook on towards Rapid Star, but immediately Darren gets popped off by the wild growth going on towards him. There's the explosive cast. Edward has to flash away. It's Shy going to chase on towards him. Bullet time comes out from Genja. No one going down. There's Diamond. He's been dropped now. They turn it around. That's going to be the inhibitor turret down. Oh, that's going to be one more down. Darian's taken very low. The shield gets thrown out, but it doesn't matter, because the inhibitor will drop there, and Frost pick up another 2-for-0 and an inhibitor. They're just going to turn straight towards the mid turret.
And holy crap, Shy. We talked about him in the analysis test. We talked about him as we got in the game. The Singe was let through. We thought Gambit had a plan for that, but with Cloud Templar camping that top lane, it gave him such a huge advantage that he could just snowball this entire game. They should be get this in second inhibitor off it, as with that Baron regen. They should, well, at least the turret looks like Gambit will be able to defend that inhibitor, but still, that is a huge advantage for Frost, as the next Baron will be up obviously in about 3.5 minutes, and that's pretty much a free Baron for them if they can keep that bot lane pushed out. Then again, it's a lot of free farm for Gambit as well.
It's a hell of a lot of farm. They've actually still got about 90 seconds left of the Baron buff. They're going to turn and steal away the blue buff. Gambit Gaming trying to desperately to get out of their base, push out, try and gain any advantages, but the jungle has been cleared out there. Alex is trying to find anything, but Shy has been here. Little signposts been posted all over that jungle just to say, sorry, I owe you a jungle creature.
Very true. And Gambit, I mean, take a look at items right now. We have 2 major items completed just for the entirety of Gambit Gaming at this point. They have the Bloodthirst and Last Whisper on Genja. Looking at the other side, you have the Rod of Aegis, the Seraph's Embrace, you have the Sunfire Cape, the Lock of the Iron Solari, you have the Death Cap, you have the Morello's Nalmacon, you know, the 2 completed items on Wound. They are just so far ahead in terms of items. I'm trying to think what Gambit can do. I mean, it's hard to say that they can't get back in the game. Obviously they can, but they need to be able to catch Frost off guard.
The Bloodthirst has not even been built by Alex yet. He's not even got that down there.
He hasn't finished 1 major item yet.
Which is an issue when your main AD and actually the most farmed person on the team. But here comes Frost in towards the Baron, the inhibitor. They're going to take this one down. Diamond Prox actually on the red buff at the moment, so that inhibitor is going to be lost. We did see earlier Frost coming back from 2 inhibitors down. Gambit going to have to do it. They're certainly going to turn and run straight towards the next inner turret, and tutorial style, they will wipe out everything, leaving nothing to chance here against Gambit Gaming. They will strip this tower down, and it looks like Gambit are going to try and put up some sort of defense but I don't think it's going to be on this turret.
Yeah, I remember Frost was actually really shooken up by those losses they got in Intel Team Masters Katowice. Like, they did not expect it was hard. Would you see the hook actually land on Temple, and they're going to commit to it?
They're going to flick him in towards the turret, but Darian just off the side, he jumps in, he gets the entire counter-strike across 4 members there, and then pulls away with the lamp. Edward throws down his ultimate, just try and get landed. Templar is going to go down. It's a 1-for-0, but there's another one, and here comes a very large Singe jumping through. Alex Singe gets taken down across, trying desperately to get away. He's the last man standing along with Edward, and he's just running from his base. Edward's around the side, and Madlife, just on his own, is shooting into the turret.
Oh, I mean, he's 2-0 and 11. What was it, 5-0-15 against EG? He's almost up to that score at this point. Frost playing so well right now. We do still not see an item completed for Alex, such a major item. And with this game, with 3 inhibitors down, there's no coming back for this. CJ Frost should be able to finish up this game.
Frost taking down the 1 Nexus turret. Alexic is there. He should be able to jump in, maybe take down Madlife, but honestly, it'll be a futile gesture. There's the hook. It lands on a super mini, and it's going to be the game for CJ Entus Frost. They're going to go 1-0 up against Gambit Gaming.
Well played overall by Frost. I mean, they had that Singe as the last pick. They probably thought something was a little fishy there, but they did a great job of controlling it and really catching Gambit off guard. That was a very solid victory, and I'm looking forward to game number 2.
Well, let's get over towards our analysis desk and find out why the hell Singed wasn't banned.
Well, I don't know why Singe wasn't banned. I thought they were going to show the world something, and they didn't. Incredibly strong play from Frost right out of the gate, right out of the early game. It just seems like they were outplayed.
Yeah, and I think that Gambit just, I don't want to say cocky, but just a bit too confident. They thought they could take on that Singe. They thought, all right, you've done some good things with it, but we're Gambit. We've got Darian. We know our top laners. We'll show you what it's done. But no, Shy is still just too good. And honestly, if they don't ban it in the next game, I don't think they deserve to go through. It should be banned.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things that happens time and time and time again. When Diamond Prox was running Shyvana all those months and months, I mean, that's a year and a bit ago at, I think, Intel Extreme Masters. It was Katowice, but a year ago, Katowice. You know, it kept happening where the counter jungling happening and say, well, if you want to beat, you know, Gambit Gaming, who was Moscow 5 back then, ban Shyvana. No, we can do it. Ban Shyvana.
Kiev.
What, Kiev, there we go. I knew it was a K. Ban Shyvana. No, she can. No, we can handle it. Ban Shyvana. It simply didn't happen. So in this particular situation, they let Singe through, and it picked, you know, completely stomped them in that top lane. They banned Caitlyn. Caitlyn, Urgot, and Elise. Now I understand if you're afraid of Caitlyn, but surely Caitlyn's going to be a bit more easier to handle than a Singed.
I think they were afraid of the strategy they ended up falling down to anyway, the Caitlyn Lulu mid lane. If you are up against a team that rely heavily on their mid laner, in this case the Kazakhs, to get farmed, to get fed, to do a lot of damage, shut down the mid lane. How do you do that? Well, we saw against Froggens and Nivea. Good pick against Nivea straight up, but you put your AD carry and you support in the mid lane, you push it in, you take their turret very early, and you put a lot of pressure on that. Don't allow them to farm. They did it this time, but they did it with Ezreal instead, and it still worked just as effective. And there was no point really where Gambit really looked like they could take that. They were behind from the start for some very good play from Frost. They did give a lot of attention to Shy in the top lane. Darian and Diamond Prox were up there a lot. They got a couple of kills onto him. The first death on Darian's part, he just got that leap back up. He flashed away. The leap just came off cooldown. He wouldn't have gone back to the tower. It had gone sideways to the creep, but it might have just been what it needed to get him out of range of the death. Fortunately, we'll never know, but it did give it up, and to be honest, he was behind from that point. It never
I'm
really
still
caught
questioning
up.
the Jax pick. I'm still wondering about that because Renekton and Shen was banned out against him. He decided to default back to Jax. Not 100% sure how I feel about that, but let's take a look at a replay. We're going to jump into this matchup. It's about 22 minutes into the game. Kill score is 4-8, and this was really the team fight that sort of sealed the deal for Gambit Gaming. Panky, you know, it was a good initiate from CJ Entus Frost. What did you think about it?
Yeah, it's kind of showed us just how far ahead Frost were. And here's the engage. There's a movement speed buff, goes on to Templar, goes right in. He charges onto Alex, but doesn't stop to attack him. He runs past him and goes further into the Gambit lineup so that this ultimate from Lulu will knock up all 4 members. That knockback then actually counts as a miniature stun on a couple of them because it hits them into walls, and Alex gets melted. Edward puts a good box down, stops him coming this way, but unfortunately Diamond is going in the other direction. Darian does do what he's meant to be doing, leaping onto Woong, but unfortunately he just arcane shifts forward, gets away from it, doesn't take any damage, and now Genja shows up, puts his ult down as they're already running away to try and get Darian on the other side. There's nothing he can really do from it, so it was more of a 5v4, to be honest. Genja was that late to the party, but perfect engage from CJ Frost, and it's exactly what they wanted, and from there on they just took everything they wanted. The map control, they had so many wards in that Gambit half of the map, and the early oracles from Madlife was a big factor in that.
I don't know what's causing this feedback. But we'll have to get that fixed up in the break. Before we go to game 2, I guess we'll have a short break. When we come back, Gambit will be red this time, Frost blue. Frost looked angry before the game. The revenge, they're 1 game off, sealing their revenge, and I'm sure they would feel very, very good about that. I spoke with the Koreans, and they are afraid of Gambit. It's the one team they said they're afraid of before the tournament even started. They're here. This means a lot to them. Their pride is in the line. They're very proud. And we'll see if they can do it. We'll be back shortly.
We are, in fact, just going to show you once more, because remember, Saturday morning, tomorrow morning, the MVP vote will go up on facebook.com/IEM. That winner, whoever you vote for, whoever you decide is the MVP, will earn themselves a very, very lovely BenQ custom painted monitor. So, just to show you what that looks like, we'll run that video and remind you, and then when we come back, we will have game 2.